Welcome to the morning show right here on ETV. In recognition of World Mental Health Awareness Month, we're joined by Megan Rajoo, the author of Finding Balance, Confessions of a Bipolar. Megan's book offers a raw, unfiltered look at life with bipolar disorder, detailing his experiences and reflections on navigating mental health in a world that often misunderstands it. And today, Megan shares his story of resilience, self-acceptance, and finding hope in the journey to mental well-being. Megan, it's so wonderful to have you here today.
Thank you very much, Carla. It's great to be here.
It's just a pleasure. I cannot wait to talk about this book, Finding Balance, Confessions of a Bipolar. And you give, in this book, you give a candid look about your life and living with bipolar disorder. What motivated you to write this book specifically?
Well, it didn't start this way,
Okay.
but I think where I ended up was hope. You know, in the middle of all of this, I was going through these wild highs, and then there would be these turns where the scale would tip and you'd go into these lows. So I call it my wild ride into madness, and you know, I couldn't find hope. I was feeling lost, I was feeling alone, I was feeling scared. And so I started to write these things down. And the more I wrote, the more I spoke to people, I found out that, hang on, they feel just like me.
Yeah.
And it's my dream that, you know, I could share awareness and actually bring hope to people.
And in this book, I know that you talk about you call it mixed states, and a lot of people have called it highs and lows, but mixed states in bipolar disorder, right? But please tell me about what that experience feels like and how have you navigated that within your life?
Yeah. So, you know, I'll just go back to manic states. So this is where you're so happy. You want to laugh, you want to run, you want to hug people. You have these delusions of grandeur. And again, it tips at some point later down the line where you're so sad, you're in despair and you're hopeless. But a big state, this is like a beast I would not wish on my worst enemy. It's where you're feeling so happy that you want to hug everyone around you, but at the same time you're so sad that you know, you want to crawl under a blanket and commit suicide. It tears your mind apart. It tears every cell in your body apart. It destroys relationships. You know, it's the worst thing. The thing I want to say to you is, although in my worst states of being bipolar, right, I would say for 50 or 60% of the time, I was normal. You know, I could have normal interactions and you wouldn't tell anything's wrong. And I think that is a key part, and we'll probably circle back to that later.
And I'd like to circle back to it because I've also read it. It's called the chameleon persona, and I want to touch on that. But before we get to know more about bipolar disorder, I want to talk about the misconceptions about how people view it, how people view this disorder. And even in primary school and high school, when you can't make up your mind, people say, yeah, you're bipolar, which is not the right thing to do. So how do you then deal with the stigmas of mental health and bipolar disorder? And you might not have the chance to correct that person, but you are living with this person with this, you are living with this misconception that people truly don't understand you.
Yeah. So with the stigmas, I think there's a lot done in platforms like you've graciously offered me here, Carla. You know, you get celebrities, you get sportsmen who speak about this. And and social media as well. It's done a lot to, I think, dilute the stigmas and bring a lot of awareness to the table. So when I said, you know, in about 50 or 60% of the time, I'm normal, that's what I want to bring to the table. When I'm in a manic state, when I'm in a depressed state, there's nothing you can do to bring me out of that. I'm going to compare it to like the rain. If it's raining, there's nothing you can do. You know, you either grab an umbrella or you go indoors and wait for the rain to stop. But bipolar and the manic depressive side of it is like that. When it's raining, I can't do anything. A person outside of me would not be able to bring me out of this state. You've got to wait till they're normal. You've got to wait till they're in the state where you can rationalize and talk to them. And remember, it will come, like the sun will come out one day. It will come, and this is where you've got to grab them and have a candid heart-to-heart with them. You know, let's talk about what's going on. Do we need to get you help? Do we need to get you, you know, how do I help you the next time you're in this state.
That's a beautiful analogy that you just used, that the sun will come up, because it will come out
will,
again.
yeah.
It really will. Let's quickly circle back to what we spoke about a few moments ago, the chameleon persona. I suppose that when people around you do not understand what you might be going through, you might be putting out a color that might be the same color as that person who you are interacting with. Please tell me about the chameleon persona.
Yeah, so that's interesting. I think it's when you're in a social context, like at work or some sort of gathering, it's hard to tell people, like, you know, you have some sort of mental affliction. You know, they would smile and then distance themselves from you.
Yeah.
So you have to pretend, you have to find ways of pretending to be normal, and that's what it is. So this teaches you skills. I don't know if it's a good thing, but it does.
Yes. And for people who might be undiagnosed or diagnosed and they do not know how to explain to their family what they might be feeling, like you have the words to explain, on certain days I feel like this, on certain days I feel like this, maybe this hour I feel like this, the next hour differently. What advice do you have to people that might not find the words to explain how they feel?
Yeah, so I'd actually talk to people around these, you know, anyone suffering from afflictions. Think about it like a boxing ring or a wrestling mat. When this person is in a manic or depressive state, remember, there's not much you can do to bring them out of it. So let them play in that boxing ring. Okay. You've got to be the ropes, the tethers around. Make sure they're not doing damage to themselves. Make sure they're not doing any harm to those around them as well. And again, like when it's raining, the sun comes out at some point. When you keep them safe in there and the sun's out, and they're rational and you can have these conversations, that's when you talk to them about therapy.
Okay, that's great advice. Thank you, Megan. And for people who will be buying this book, Finding Balance, Confessions of a Bipolar, if they read this book, what message would you like them to take out of this book?
So I think anybody listening, you know, reading the words or listening to these words, I want to say to you, you did not ask for this. You are not alone. There is hope. You know, I'm not some great sage sitting on a mountain top with all this information and it's going to give you a silver bullet. It is hard work, but if I could get through it, if I could get myself through this maze and come out on the other side, you can too.
Megan, thank you so much for this insightful conversation. I do now know a lot more about bipolar disorder, and for people who do suffer with it or live with it rather. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope that this book is a huge success.
Thank you very much, Carla.
Just
it's been a
pleasure. And once again, thank you so much to Megan again for sharing his journey with such openness and honesty. And finding balance is a reminder that even in our toughest moments, there's always hope and resilience around, and we appreciate the insights and the courage it takes to tell the story. It's truly inspiring. Stay right here with us. It's The Morning Show. We'll be right back.